or Valmiki was not born in a Brahmin family. He was a hunter in a very cruel mood and all that. But because he took up this, spiritual life following the Acharya Narada Muni, then he got the qualification. Therefore, you cannot see, oh, he is such a hunter, very cruel hunter. How can he write, and then how can I read his Ramayana? And then that we are the loser, not Valmiki Muni. Similarly, so many people may try to make differentiation of people. Okay, they are they are highly, from a great background, they are educated, they are this, that, and all that. But those are all secondary. What is more important is that, has he taken up sincere devotional life following the principles of Krishna consciousness, then he is a great Vaishnava. He is a Vaishnava to start with. Then he becomes a great Vaishnava. That's the difference. So there he says, the Prabhupada ends this by saying, the Lord assures herein that he is ready to give protection to his devotees, even if there is a need to cut off parts of his own body. That means there's so much importance the Lord is giving. And therefore, we should also be careful in our dealings with Vaishnava. If the Lord himself is so ready to please Vaishnavas, then how can we disrespect Vaishnavas? That is very important. The next one, verse number 11. The Lord continues, because I am the servitor of my devotees, my lotus feet have become so sacred that they immediately wipe out all sin. And I have acquired such a disposition that the goddess of fortune does not leave me. Even though I have no attachment for her, and others praise her beauty and observe sacred vows to secure from her even a slight favor. So the Lord is explaining, actually, if you see, the Lord is personally accepting. My lotus feet will actually take out all your sins. So this is the words of the Lord, and he personally is accepting it. That, I'll read that. My lotus feet has become so sacred that they immediately wipe out all sins. And I have acquired such disposition that the goddess of fortune does not leave me. So people, we all say, Lakshmi is Chanchala, they say. That is why, Chanchala means, so when, you can see the name given Chanchalapati Das. So Chanchalapati Das means Chanchala is one who is actually very flickering, that, she's not ready to be in one place. She just moves on. And then her husband is Pati. So Chanchalapati. That is the name given. Now, but here Krishna is saying, while Lakshmi is Chanchala, but she is not ready to leave me. She is there all the time, and it's not just one Lakshmi. There are hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis eagerly waiting to serve that Lord. And so this is his position, right? Now, and the Lord also thinks, he is also thinking, and why he's saying, my lotus feet can actually remove the sins. He's saying, the reason he's giving, right? The Lord continued, because I am the servitor of my devotees, my lotus feet have become so sacred. And even Lakshmi doesn't leave me. So now, how is Lord saying that? Why did I get all these powers? He's saying, because I am a servant of my devotees. And because I am a servant of my devotees, I have got these qualities. Just see this, how humble the Lord is. Or more importantly, he is trying to give such a great position to his devotees. That is the point. Because of serving them, I have become so great. It's a way of saying it to show the importance of the Brahmanas. That means the devotees. Brahmana means devotees, we discussed already. So that is important. Next one. I do not enjoy the oblations offered by the sacrifice in the sacrificial fire, which is one of my own mouths. With the same relish as I do the delicacies overflowing with the ghee, which are offered to the mouth of the Brahmanas, who have dedicated to me the results of their activities and who are ever satisfied with my prasada. See, very, very elaborate description the Lord is giving. He's saying, see, we all know, right? Whenever there's a yajna, who's the Yajnapati? The Vishnu. Vishnu is the Yajnapati. So these Homakunda, that whatever we prepare and then we offer all the ingredients inside that Homakunda, is not different from the mouth of the Lord. So that means this is like directly the mouth of the Lord. Like that is what it is. But he's saying, I am not so much after, I don't feel the great taste when it is offered directly in my mouth. That means in the Homakunda. That is described as his own mouth. But then he says, but I am actually very, very happy to eat that which is offered in the mouth of the Brahman. So you see, that means he says, the Brahmanas are his real mouth. That means when the Brahmana eats nicely and feels, wow, this prasada is very nice, it is like Krishna himself eating. That is very clearly said here. So that is why it is said, we all say this, right? You should actually feed the Brahmanas nicely. So feed the Brahmanas means nice, wonderful devotees. It is it's one of the qualities of Vaishnava behavior that we invite nice devotees home, we offer them nice prasada, and they also, like when they happily eat, then when they are pleased, Krishna is pleased. So you prepare nice, wonderful dishes like that. And the Brahmanas also, it's also vice versa. The Brahmanas also, they actually eat nicely, not because they want to have all these different things. I like laddu, bring on more laddus. I like this, bring on more. That is not the mood. They accept it as a representative of the Lord. So if you see, sometimes, many times we would have seen on the Vyasa Puja day, we prepare so many dishes and we keep in front of the spiritual master. We have also seen Prabhupada, there are so many dishes which are kept. So it's not like, oh, therefore Prabhupada wants to eat so many things, therefore these things have been done. All the spiritual master wants to eat all these things. No. The devotees actually want to please Krishna, and therefore they are preparing various wonderful dishes and offering to the spiritual master. And the spiritual master is doing the service to the Lord by accepting those different items. We all know, when it's a body, if you eat so many things, then next day, or it could affect our health altogether. Many may think, they all have a very strict sadhana, they have a very good, every day, come what may, they will get up so early, they will follow the regulative principles. So it's all so many meetings, so many things. So it's so very busy schedule. Now in this, if I eat so many things which my body cannot take, then tomorrow or next 3-4 days I am sick, I am down. But that is not the way they see it. They look at, therefore they personally, they have no interest in taking so many opulent prasada. But because if they are doing this service to the Lord, because when they eat, the Lord accepts, the Lord feels happiness of that prasada. The Lord does not get stomach upset. So, but he accepts that when it coming from the Brahmana's mouth. And he himself says, right, overflowing with the ghee when it is coming from the Brahmana's mouth, I am so happy. So it's so very intricate and so beautiful. So that is something. And the example is also given, therefore you should feed Brahmana. So there is the example again of Haridas Thakur, where Advaita Prabhu. So when Advaita Prabhu made one nice arrangement of feast in his house. So many So he is doing that. At that time, I think it is a Shraddha ceremony that he is doing. And that time when everything is ready, actually, we already saw the Namacharya Haridas Thakur. He is actually always having this humble mood, and he always remains in the back. I am not qualified. I am born in a very lowly family. That way he is thinking. So he doesn't even come inside, he's outside the house. But Advaita Acharya, he first calls Haridas Thakur, you please come inside. And then he wants to make that offering first to Haridas Thakur before anybody else is given prasada. And Haridas Thakur says, no, how can you do this? I am not a qualified person. Then Advaita Acharya says, you are such a great devotee. If I feed you, it is equivalent to feeding thousands of Brahmanas. So Prabhupada is actually quoting that here. Haridas Thakur informed him that he was born of a Mohammedan family and asked why Advaita Prabhu was offering the first dish to a Mohammedan instead of elevated Brahmana. Okay, then, but Advaita Prabhu, being an experienced devotee, accepted him as a real Brahmana. Advaita Prabhu asserted that by offering the first dish to Haridas Thakura, he was getting the result of feeding 100,000 Brahmanas. The conclusion is that if one feeds a Brahmana or Vaishnava, it is better than performing hundreds of thousands of sacrifices. So you understand the knack of pleasing Krishna. So that is there. Next verse. I am the master of my unobstructed internal energy, and the water of the Ganges is the remnant left after my feet are washed. That water sanctifies the three worlds along with Lord Shiva, who bears it on his head. If I can take the dust of the feet of the Vaishnavas on my head, who will refuse to do the same? So this is the Lord's position. He is asserting, see, the dust of my lotus feet, dust, right? It's not like, so that water which washes my leg, that can purify the entire universe. And that is my position. And if I am ready to take the dust of the lotus feet of the devotee to my head, why will anybody not take it? Like, no, they need to follow my example. I am the most perfected being. And if I am ready to take the dust of the Vaishnava's lotus feet, why will anybody else not do it? So he's talking about the glories of these Brahmanas. So you are so great. He's trying to glorify them so nicely. You four Kumaras are so great, so amazing that, I personally feel obliged to serve you. I personally feel it is my offense that my servants are committed an offense at your lotus feet. That is the way the Lord is actually talking. Now we have come to the next verse. The Brahmanas, the cows, and the defenseless creatures are my own body. Those whose faculty of judgment has been impaired by their own sin look upon these as distinct from me. They are just like furious serpents, and they are angrily torn apart by the bills of vulture-like messengers of Yamaraja, the superintendent of sinful persons. The Brahmanas, the cows, and the defenseless creatures are my own body. Those whose faculty of judgment has been impaired by their own sin look upon these as distinct from me. That means one is not supposed to distinguish a Brahmana, or for that matter, it is mentioned the defenseless. These are actually considered the women, the cows, and the Brahmanas. These are very important. And of course, those who are defenseless, those people who are actually, who have no protection, they are all to be considered as the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, and the utmost importance is given to the Brahmanas. Children, the children, the women, the cows, the Brahmanas. These are considered the topmost category of jivas, which needs the highest protection, who are defenseless. And it is said, anyone who neglects to care for these defenseless persons, then they are punished badly. So if you are the guardian of a children, then it is of your absolute importance how you really care for the child. If you are not caring for the child properly, then for sure, major punishment is ready at the hands of Yamaraj. It's mentioned, like just like the serpents, how they angrily torn are torn apart by the bills of the vulture. Like, vulture, this tears apart a snake. Like that, the Yamadutas will actually punish the offenders who are actually not being a proper guardian. That means a husband to the wife should be really very careful in dealing, really in a protective mood of the wife. If he is careless in that matter, then he is in trouble. like that, the Brahmanas in the society, these other society members should protect the Brahmanas nicely, and the cows, people should really take care of caring for the cows. It's not like, okay, cows, any animal like a dog or anything. So the protection given to the cows is very, very important, and anyone may ill treats or forget about eating a cow. But even ill treating a cow or not caring for the cow is such a big offense. Next. On the other hand, they captivate my heart who are gladdened in heart and who, their lotus faces enlivened by nectarian smiles, respect the Brahmanas. Even though the Brahmanas utter harsh words, they look upon the Brahmanas as my own self and pacify them by praising them in loving words, even as a son would appease an angry father, or as I am pacifying you. So he's saying, on the other hand, forget about you offending the Brahmanas. Even if the Brahmanas offend you, how you should behave to them. That is the words that is being mentioned. So these are very big lessons. Maybe, if you have to apply this in our practical life, and how do we understand this to develop nice Vaishnava culture, we can do a seminar. Now, we are just talking at the high level because we are covering so many verses. So here it is mentioned, you can take this practical example. Sometimes when Brahmanas get so-called angry and they chastise, immediately we should not react like, hey, how can he say this to me? No. We should smile and then accept it in a very humble manner. So and Prabhupada is giving this example of the sons of Kuvera, Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, right? These are their names. So when Narada Muni, when these boys were, not wearing proper dress, and then, in a garden, they were just playing around with women. When Narada Muni came, they did not give that respect, and they behaved in the same manner, not even wearing a dress in front. Suddenly, at least, when a nice, great Brahmana saint comes in front of you, immediately cover up yourself and shave or obeisances, nothing. They just didn't do any of these things. Then Narada Muni, so-called anger he got, and then he cursed them, you become trees, and Krishna will relieve you at a later point in time. Immediately, they were actually the sons of the richest person, right? Kuvera. Like today, if you see the so-called spoiled brats, they call, because their father is so powerful, they behave so badly. But here, these Brahmanas, even though they also behaved like that, the Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, even though they behaved like that, immediately on that curse that they got, they immediately surrendered to Narada Muni and said, oh, Narada Muni, forgive us. We have committed an offense at your lotus feet. So this is the mood that, we should take even their curses very humbly. Even we saw Parikshit Maharaj, right? When the boy cursed Parikshit Maharaj, the Brahmana boy, who's actually just a small boy, right? Even though he is a Brahmana, but he's a Brahmana. So he cursed it, and Parikshit could have counter-cursed him, and he could have nullified that Shapa also, because he's such a powerful Vaishnava. But he said, no, I will accept the Shapa of the Brahmana because I need to be favorable to the Brahmana's words. I cannot disobey the Brahmana's words. So this is the mood of the devotees, great devotees. Then Prabhupada is also talking about, like, there are many people, okay, because he's saying, Krishna is saying here, right, the unprotected on my body, then some people says, then therefore all these poor people are Daridra Narayana. So Prabhupada is actually condemning that, that is not the way we understand this. The unprotected needs to be protected, but that doesn't mean, you can call them as the Daridra Narayana. But here the Lord is saying the Brahmanas are actually my or me. In other words, the Brahmanas are considered equivalent to the Lord in that sense. So Brahmanas means, again, to underline very clearly, not the kind of the caste Brahmana that we are seeing. Those are actually the devotees of the Lord, and they need not be necessarily be born Brahmana, but one who has become a Brahmana by his qualities. That is important. The next one. These servants of mine have transgressed against you, not knowing the mind of their master. I shall therefore deem it a favor done to me if you order that, although reaping the fruit of their transgression, they may return to my presence soon, and the time of their exile from my abode may expire before long. So now the Lord, after so much of glorification, is making a humble representation to these Brahmanas, saying, yes, they have offended you, and you are such great personalities, and there is no reason why they should have offended. You should have been glorified, but it has happened. Then he's asking, please give me a favor. Please, while your punishment is fine, but please give me a favor, give me a blessing to these boys that, they experience that punishment quickly and come back to me fast. So this is there. We say, Krishna says, right, one who returns to that abode of mine never returns back to this material world. It is there in Bhagavad Gita. Yadgatva na nivartante taddama paramam mama. So if anyone who gets to my dhamma, he never returns back. So the Lord personally takes care. Oh, if he has come here, how he can go back? Okay, he has committed a crime, something happened, but he is so eager to bring him back to his own abode. That is explained here. And he's asking this favor to them, please sanction this. It's my humble request to you. So that is the purport of this verse. Then verse number 13. Brahma continued, even though the sages had been bitten by the serpent of anger, their souls were not satisfied with hearing the Lord's lovely and illuminating speech, which was like a series of Vedic hymns. So now the Brahma is actually narrating all these incidences. And therefore here Brahma continued is coming here, because Brahma suddenly, where did Brahma's commentary of Brahma saying something comes is because Brahma is narrating this the pastime of the four Kumaras, and therefore he is saying there like that it is mentioned, and he is saying now these four Kumaras hearing the Lord so much speak so much, they are really in wonderful awe and reverence. The Lord's excellent speech was difficult to comprehend because of its momentous import and its most profound significance. The sages heard it with wide open ears and pondered it as well. But although hearing, they could not understand what he intended to do. That means they are hearing all this. We are also hearing all these things. We are trying to understand so many things from that. But they are wondering, actually, what is the Lord doing? Actually, is he, by saying all these things, is he actually chastising us? Like, hey, you are all such a great person. What is it? How can you chastise my servants? Is he actually saying it in a sarcastic way? Like that they are thinking. Prabhupada writes, nor could they understand whether the Lord was angry or pleased with them. Like, if the Lord was angry because they cursed their servants, the Lord could be sarcastically behaving to them. Oh, you are all great personalities. Huh? We say sometimes, if someone offends us, we think, oh, he thinks he's so great. Is the Lord speaking in that mood? They are not sure, but they are already, whatever the Lord says, they are in ecstasy. Their hairs are standing on end. But see, the Lord is so great. It's not, we can't take it for granted. Oh, he's saying this only like that. So they are very elevated personality. So they are thinking, am I understanding it correctly? So it's not, okay, humko pata hai, not like that. They're trying to see what is the Lord trying to say. Go deeper into the subject matter, like how we should understand also Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Not take it simply, oh, yeah, it's okay. But you go a little more deeper, try to understand even deeper what is the real purport of that the Lord is saying. That's what they are introspecting. The next one, we are into the 15th verse. The four Brahmana sages were nevertheless extremely delighted to behold him, and they experienced a thrill throughout their bodies. Then they spoke as follows to the Lord, who had revealed the multi-glories of the Supreme Personality through his internal potency, Yogamaya. So now they are going to speak back to the Lord few things. And they were ecstatic hearing the Lord speak this much. So actually, this chapter has around 37 verses. So technically, if we do 18 verses, it will be nice. But actually, from 16th verse onwards, the Brahmanas are going to speak. So let us, maybe it can be covered in the next class, what are the Brahmanas saying? Nothing big. I will read the 16th also, cover it, which gives the context for that. So I will just cover that. The sages said, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are unable to know what you intend for us to do. For even though you are the supreme ruler of all, you speak in our favor as if we had done something good for you. So they are saying, oh Lord, we don't know why are you speaking all of these things? Like, you are speaking as though uh, you are speaking as though we have done something good for you. Actually, we have troubled you by cursing your servants, but you are speaking in a very nice manner as though I have done something good for you. Like this, they are expressing their, what do you call, their mood to the Lord. You are so merciful. You are speaking like this while, that way they are speaking. So this one we will cover. Subsequently, they will start speaking more details, more glorification of the Lord that we can. Okay, let me do this next one also, 70. It's a smaller one. Oh Lord, you are the supreme director of the Brahmanical culture. You are considering the Brahmanas to be in the highest position is your example for teaching others. Actually, you are the supreme worshipable deity, not only the gods, but for the Brahmanas also. So here they are concluding why you are behaving like this is you are actually giving us so much of importance, and you are the director of the Brahmanical culture because you are giving so much importance to the Brahmanas, and therefore you can actually therefore relate all the Brahmanical qualities, whichever is, the nice behavior, sattva, all of those things are actually directly relatable to the Lord, and the Lord is personally supervising these activities, these qualities, because that is very Brahmanical, and the Lord is very dear to such qualities that we need to understand. And it is mentioned in the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes. There are undoubtedly many demigods, the chiefs of whom are Brahma and Shiva. Lord Vishnu is the Lord of Brahma and Shiva, not to speak of the Brahmanas in the material world. So this is important. The Lord is the supreme director of everything, starting from Brahma, Shiva, so many demigods, right? He is saying, Bhoktaram Yakita Prasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sugurdam Sarva Bhutanam Nyatva Mam Sakshi Bhushati. So he is the supreme director of everything, including Lord Brahma and Shiva. What to speak of the Brahmanas? So they are all, that Brahmanas is the Vaishnavas. So they are all directly under the supervision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that much is being covered there. So from 18th verse, we can hear in the next week. Sorry, I have taken some 7-8 minutes extra. Now, if there are any questions or comments, welcome. We can take for the next few minutes. Hare Krishna. Are there any specific questions from whatever we have discussed up to now? Or if there are any comments any of you would like to share, it will be nice. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a question. This incident happens repeatedly, or it happened only once? I mean, this incident of Jaya Vijaya falling down.
Okay, so I will say it in a generalized sense, bro. So yes. How do we understand this is Krishna is actually performing pastimes at this particular time, and a Leela of Krishna is happening somewhere. So in some planet, there could be a Jaya Vijaya incident happening. Because, we are just in this 14 planetary system, but this entire system is just one small planetary system. There are millions of such planetary systems consisting of these 14 planetary systems. That means these eggshells, no? the universe, what we call this eggshell, is all that's the sky, the different various planets, and then the different lokas. Then we have a Yamaraja, there is one Brahma for us, and then there is many, like all of these things there. This is all just one small house. And there are millions of such houses. Then there are different Brahmas, there is different Yamarajas, all of them. So now it is happening in different planets, therefore it is happening in many places. So, and one thing which we can also see, what we are hearing in Bhagavatam is just one small portion of the real qualities of the Lord. So, what we see is Bhagavatam is a glimpse, even though Bhagavatam is like 27,000 verses and all that, but that is actually very small compared to the real thing that is happening. That's why Adi Sesha is saying, I have thousands of tongues, but it's not sufficient for me. I hear more and more because it's so many glories are happening, so many pastimes are happening. So to answer your question, this Jaya Vijaya pastimes, or for that matter, any of the pastimes are happening in different time frames, and we are reading from one such aspect of it. Does it answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
And if you also have some
Hare
other
Krishna, Prabhuji.
observations, you can say in this.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna,
very much.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
If there are many such homes, so-called homes,
Hmm.
it is not necessary that the same pastimes be replicated in every home. It could be different, and we are probably not aware of those pastimes, and we'll never be aware.
True. See, that's why it says the Lord's pastimes are unlimited. And it is not like a stereotype, right? It has to be like this only. And one we are seeing in our own example. We are seeing one in our own example, in our own Bhagavatam. You would have already seen that sections, right? Where Varaha Dev's appearance is there. So, in Bhagavatam only, Varaha Dev's appearance has been explained in two different ways. So, one where he goes and kills this Hiranyaksha. Right, he brings the earth out of that, and then in the process he kills that Hiranyaksha. But the same pastime of a Varahadev again going, and the background is the same. The water the earth falls into the water, into that Shirodakasai, that ocean, and from there he brings out. But there is no Hiranyaksha killing activity which happens. And again, when the Lord comes in both these, he has two different colors. One is Shweta Varaha, one is Rakta Varaha. One is white colored boar, he is coming in that form. In another time, he comes in a red colored form. So it may not be stereotype that what we see in Bhagavatam is one portion of that entire Lord's pastimes. So you are correct, Madhava.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So just imagine, so if this one Bhagavatam is so relatable for us, if we have to understand all of that, it's so blissful. So that is unlimited. Even this material world, we see the sky is limitless, but that has a limit. So I mean, the Lord's activities are so vast. It is not to be, okay, I can say, okay, am I satisfied with 10? No, he gives multi-billion. You can keep on going, but not see the end, but still it has an end. That means the Lord's is so limitless. That is his potency. So we cannot put a Lord inside a bucket and say, okay, this is what is Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. What I very much surprised about this pastime is when the Supreme Personality of Godhead takes responsibility for what has happened. That's what is very surprising.
Yeah, no, we were discussing this. We were saying, no, therefore, the Lord, we are representing the Lord. Like, when Jai Vijaya did this, the Lord is actually saying, I am responsible. My servants, whatever they do, I am responsible. So now, if we are as Vaishnavas, as part of the Guru Parampara, as a disciple of your Guru, then we need to be very careful. Otherwise, what we do reflects is actually like what our Guru did, right? So what Prabhupada? So it becomes a blame on the spiritual master, on Prabhupada, like that. So very responsible position. Nice observation, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So he has written leadership qualities. The Lord's leadership quality, she is trying to explain that, a leader is one who not only takes the credit of the servants, but when some problem happens, he says, no, I didn't do, my subordinate did it, right? In material world, we see the bosses claim credit for the great things that the subordinate does. But when a mistake happens, he says, no, I did not, this staff did it. He should not have done like that. They actually do this. But Mataji is bringing, that's a great quality of leadership. They want responsibility for their team's action. When the success happens, they give it to them. But when failure happens, they say it is my mistake that way. And Lord is exhibiting that quality. Nice point, Mataji, that you have highlighted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So we can take so many lessons, it's not like sometimes we read Bhagavatam and all, okay, theoretically, but this is how do we apply in our practical life, everything, Bhagavad Gita, then we can actually see the change. Otherwise we can, oh, this is all theoretical, this is not for this age, but this is great. Leadership skill is the need of the hour in the corporate world everywhere, like any leadership requirement, material or spiritual. This is what the Lord is personally exhibiting. Don't need to go to a big MBA institute to learn all these things. It is there in our Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
All those people, those gurus, they actually have copied from these texts only, Prabhuji.
Yeah. But they are putting it as their research item and, making money out of it.
Correct.
You go there and join and pay so much money to learn that. But here in Bhagavatam is free, right? But we don't want to take it from our own. That's a sad state of affairs, but so be it. We will try to change that. That is our job. We need to preach hard. And present.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. But
Hare
the
Krishna.
material world is like this. Now, Prabhu, when you pay for something, you hold on to it. When it comes at fee, you don't give it value.
And that is our
I mean,
mindset.
this is the sad state of affairs everywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's our mindset, unfortunately. We are not able to distinguish what is what. Marketing is needed for everything. So you put a price on it, people think, oh, this is great. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing can I add, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
The best things in the world are actually free.
Hmm.
Like for example, like friendship or family or anything, our life. A lot of things are free, but we don't value them.
Correct. We take it for granted.
We take it for granted.
Yeah. No, like a big point you are making. The oxygen you are breathing in the COVID times, people, how much people paid for one cylinder of oxygen when the COVID times was there, right? And oxygen was also not available. Many people died because oxygen cylinders are not there. But here, oxygen is so freely available. We are breathing so many millions of liters of oxygen, but we don't even care. We don't think this is great. The Lord has given, the nature has facilitated that, that we are getting so much of oxygen. We are happy to breathe in so much. But one day when we are not having little nose block, not able to breathe, we gush everybody. Oh, what is it? We take it for granted that, so much oxygen I'm breathing. So grateful to you, Lord. 1 second, if no oxygen is not there, what happens to me? Right. Your point is very nice.
I'm sorry, Prabhu. Can I just add something?
Yes,
I slightly differ from what Prabhu said. Sunlight, sunshine, air, oxygen, all this is free and we don't value it. But family, friendship, if you don't nourish it, if you don't take care of it, it doesn't come free, Prabhu. There is a question mark to it. You have to nourish that. You have to nourish it. You don't nourish air. What the Lord has given is free. Your relations, your friends. I feel that I could be wrong. With due apologies.
What you are saying and he is saying is the same thing. See, he says originally it comes free, but
it doesn't come free. What comes free, Prabhu?
The thing is,
even you're married, it doesn't come.
No. See, now the
your
love
friends don't come free. You have to make an effort. Does your friendship last free, Prabhu? Like how the sunshine? I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not getting that
No, what
I'm
he's
not
trying to
getting what
say
he's
is,
trying
let
to
us
say.
see, for example, the child is there, the mother is there. Now, the child urinates, the child does so many things, the mother actually has love for the child. He's talking about relationship. So it starts like that. Then as we go, our siblings are there. Initially, we are children, we are there, so that love develops. But if I continuously continue to exhibit a behavior of negative behavior, then that love is withdrawn. It is naturally there, no? So you will say, this is my sister. But about your neighbor, you don't have that same thing. But if the sister keeps hurting you again and again, then you withdraw that love for them. So by instinct, we have it naturally. But in course of time, we withdraw it, right? We marry, many times it's an arranged marriage. The minute you bind, then we feel very close to that person. Right now, I don't even know what she is. But I develop love for them. But if that person is not nice to me, in course of time, I withdraw this one. So by intent, that relationship means natural. But in course of time, because of mistreatment, ill treatment, the behavior changes. That is what Prabhu is mentioning, I think. Prabhu, I'm sorry for talking for you, but if you differ, you can highlight.
Yes, yes, the same thing, Prabhu. It's like just like a parents' relationship, or like a parents, everybody. I mean, we got it. I mean, we didn't pay any money to get friends or my parents, for example, right? So the love that we get from our family, but we don't we take it for granted. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. We should not take it for granted, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And
So,
Mataji's point is like, if you take it for granted, it sort of becomes, there's no value for it, and people, that love is lost.
can I say another point, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Something I just felt like these pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are so unique. I mean, we read so many material books, material stories, news, magazines. But when we read Bhagavatam, we feel so much of relief when we hear, because this is a story of God. Actually, if you think about it, nobody has the story of the God in the world except Bhagavatam.
Yes.
No book in the world has these beautiful pastimes. I mean, how God behaves. I mean, the way God was talking, how Krishna was specifying them was so beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. That's there in the first chapter, first few verses, that, this is the nectar, so many things are there, beautiful description of how Bhagavatam is so different from anything else, completely out of the world. Thank you for bringing that up.
Just to add a point here, I know of people, who have behaved or taken their subordinates under themselves, and spoken for them and fought for them. On the other hand, I have come across personally myself, being a medical student or a graduate, I have seen my own seniors who have shirked away from protecting us when we needed their help.
Yeah.
So it is both. We have seen both sides, and many human, individuals have. I don't know whether they have learned it. In those days, there were no management courses. Probably this is actually, we have learned all this from our own parents. It just comes down as a disciplic succession from there. They learn from their parents and their ancestors.
Yes.
They're supposed to be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there are these examples everywhere, like, some of these. So this is typically how a leader should not behave. Like, you would have seen in Abdul Kalam's time, when he was head of the thing, a rocket failure happened. So it became such a big blame. Then that time, whoever was like functionally on the ground performing this thing, all the newspapers started blaming, oh, he did it wrongly. But Abdul Kalam came in front and said, no, I am to be blamed because it is my team, and I take responsibility for it. So then he protected his subordinates, and then later they again went back into the project. They did a great job. And then this time the rocket was very successful. The press was all coming and glorifying. At that time, Abdul Kalam said, now you go and talk to the press. I don't want anything. So this is greatness of leaders, and where it is starting from the Supreme Personality of God. He is
Yes,
exhibiting that personally. Nice. Thanks for all the nice interactions.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you for your class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's shown us by example. And in Ravana, when his brother told him, don't do it, he kicked him out. He literally kicked him out when he said, this is the Supreme, this is the difference. See,
Yes.
when you have money, the puff up, how you get puffed up, how you behave.
Yeah.
And here's the Supreme God, he's got everything and he's so humble.
Yes.
So that is why he's what he is.
True. A nice realization. So these, whatever we discuss, I think they are bringing it in our mind to analyze it closely, right? So that's the purpose of actually hearing Bhagavatam. See how to see different aspects of it and how to imbibe it. Nice. Okay. So then should we end the session, Prabhu?
Yeah, we can stop. We can stop, Prabhuji. If you're done, we can.
Thank you all very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.